What it means if she wants to settle down with you. This is a tough one because in order to understand this, you have to know female nature. You have to know how women operate in today's day and age. So I would say there are exceptions to this, but for the most part, here's what it means. So first of all, if she wants to settle down with you, most of the time, right, it's not long-term as far as like marriage is concerned, right? See, women have different tiers of dating. They will definitely just have sex with a guy. That's one tier, right? There's no commitment to that. There's nothing considered long-term in their thinking to that. They just want to jump a guy's bones. And this happens more today in today's day and age, 2021, than it ever has in history. Because women had a lot more to lose in history if they got pregnant or if they had sex with the wrong man. They could get STDs that killed them. You still can today, but it's more rare. Our science and healthcare system has advanced so much that there's a lot less risk. Now they can have abortions. Now they can get money from the state or alimony not alimony, but child support if they want to have a kid, right? So they have a lot less to lose, and there's more incentive socially, culturally, financially, in every aspect for women to sleep around, right? Very much encouraged. Whereas in the past, it was a lot more risky and a lot more dangerous, right? So that's one tier. They will sleep around very easily. That's tier one, right? And there's no commitment in that. Although I've always maintained, and I still maintain, that women are emotionally, when they invest in a man enough to have sex with him, there needs to be emotion involved in that. Women are emotionally attracted to men, right? Women are just virtually mostly emotional creatures. They operate on emotion. They think based on their emotions. What they think and what they decide are based on their emotions, right? This is why it's somewhat easy in a sense. It's not easy at all, really, but it's easy in a sense to hack a woman's biological programming if you know how to manipulate her emotions. Okay, so that's one tier. The next tier is boyfriend material, right? So you have to understand these tiers. These tiers are how women put, essentially you could call them categories of how they put men in what they want from a man, right? First tier is just sex. That is still a kind of investment, or at least there's potential for an investment in sex, right? Because again, if you get her pregnant, right, you're stuck for the next 18 years with that woman. And if she decides to keep it, which she can, you have no right over that child to kill it or to keep it. It's 100% her right, which is wrong, right? Which is wrong because that's sexist and it's against men. It's a whole nother conversation, but I've always maintained that that's wrong. I'm against abortion. I'm pro-life, right? But it's still wrong that the woman has 100% say over the child. Okay, so that's tier one. Sex, there's still somewhat of a potential for an emotional investment. Tier two is boyfriend material, right? Boyfriend material. You may think that that's a commitment. To her, boyfriend material is a commitment, but you got to understand something about women. A boyfriend material, the way women commit is not the same as men, right? A woman's commitment, she may love a guy and be quote unquote committed to the guy to a certain extent, but it's not the same type of commitment that a man has. When a man has commitment for a woman, most men, okay, now yes, there's players, yes, there's Chad Thundercock who just slays everything, and he might have a main girl, and ironically he's the guy that all the girls want, because the more desirable you are to other women, the more other women want you. Just this weird hypergamy hack, right? But most men, when they love a woman or they get into a relationship with a woman, most men, it's pretty solid, right? This is why I believe, and I've always maintained, that men are hurt more by breakups than women. For some reason, women are able to detach their emotions easier, and they can move on from a guy easier. I've always maintained this. All my experiences in all the long-term relationships I've had, the women that I've dated easily moved on, where it was harder for me to move on. And I've seen other men, do the same. And my theory on this is that because women are emotional creatures, they're more used to being in their emotions, and they're more, in a sense, in tune, although that's probably not the right phrase, but they're just more used to being in their emotions. So they can easily vent over a guy, get over a guy, and then move on and emotionally be attached to another guy very easily. This is why women initiate most of divorces. This is why women often cheat. They often monkey branch, because it's easier for them. Guys we're just straightforward. We're just really, really straightforward. We love a girl, we love her, that's it. We don't want to be with anybody else. That's it, for the most part. Now, I think there's a lot of drawbacks to that for men. I think men need to be more in tune with their emotions. I really do. I think that men need to have a more abstract, I don't even know if this is the right word, but esoteric kind of viewpoint of love. Like, you need to find yourself first, find out who you are, and really, really decipher what type of woman you really like and what type of woman that you really feel could be your soulmate. Because I think it's easy for men to just be like, oh, here's a woman and she wants to date me, I guess therefore she's the one, and then they go all in and they invest in that one woman, because men don't have the same options as women. Women are constantly in abundance. So it's easier for women, in a sense, because they're in abundance, to figure out what they like. And even that's kind of convoluted, because women, essentially are turned on by security, a man's resources. So it gets muddy as far as that goes. But both men and women should and need to find out their types. They need to find out what type of person that they like. Do you like introverts? Do you like what body type do you like? What hair color do you like? What personality category do you like? Do you like people who are more talkative? Do you like people who are more quiet? Do you like people who laugh a lot? Do you like people who make jokes? Seriously, right? Don't just be like, oh, she's a good woman, she's, loyal or whatever. Like, I mean, if you can find one, right, in today's day and age. But people go by bare statistics, and it's okay to be like, yes, I want this type of person who's funny, who laughs, who makes jokes, who gets my sense of humor. Like, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem with what women do is they take that to the nth degree. They're like, I like this and like that, and they're so meticulous with it. They're like, oh, I gotta have a guy who's 6'5", and he's gotta wear cowboy boots, and he's gotta have green eyes. It's like, that's a little too much. That's a little too exact. How about you just stick to personalities? What kind of personality type do you like? Yes, hair color's fine, ethnicity's fine, those things are okay. Like, yeah, maybe I don't want to marry an Asian, maybe I don't want to marry a blonde woman, I want to marry a brunette who has bigger breasts, and I don't like girls with small breasts. Like, that's okay. It's okay to do that. If you're going to buy a car, right, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to buy a Hummer when you want a sports car. Like, you want a sports car, get a sports car. It's what you want. It's what's going to make you happy. Your significant other should make you happy. But there's caveats, right? One caveat is like, hey, don't pick somebody just for their money. Hey, don't pick somebody just because they got big old titties. Like, okay, you want a girl with bigger tits? Go for that. But find somebody who's got a good personality that you like as well. Find somebody who's got the same beliefs as you as well, the same political affiliation as well, because those things are important, right? On the one hand. On the other hand, like, I advise everyone, pick somebody who's loyal, and the more somebody sleeps around, the less loyal that they're going to be. The more someone has been out, ran through by a bunch of dudes or a bunch of women, the more they're going to be warped. The more chances are they're going to cheat on you, right? Okay, so after we get back from that, after I roll back from that tangent, right, a woman will put a man into a boyfriend category which is a commitment, and it's a long-term category per se, but she might not want to marry that guy. You see, this is how women operate, and guys need to understand this, is that even though she might want to get married someday, she might just only want a boyfriend right now. And women don't tell guys this. Women will not volunteer this kind of information. Women are very subtle creatures. Most women will not give a guy a heads up. Hey, you know what? I'm only looking for a few hookups. Hey, I only want a one night stand. That's it. Most women don't operate like that because it's not in their benefit to do so. Because women are clever. They're subtle. They might want something more, or there might be something else they can get out of you. Women are opportunistic. Their nature is opportunistic. Oh, this guy has more money than this guy. She might be talking to one guy at the bar, and he's decent, he's all right, he's a 7 out of 10, and she's okay, she's interested, she's talking, but Chad Thundercock walks in the door, and he's a 10 out of 10, and he comes right up to her and says, hey, can I have this dance? And he steals her from that 7 out of 10. What do you think she's going to do? Do you think she's going to stick with that 7 out of 10 because she's loyal? Hell no. A better opportunity walked through the door. This is female nature. This is hypergamy. A better opportunity came along, and she's going to take it. Unfortunately, it's the same in relationships, dating, unfortunately, a lot of times marriage. Women will find a better guy. They're married and they're like, shoot, I could have had this better guy and I didn't even realize. And I feel like I would be happier with him. Now I want a divorce all of a sudden. It happens, man. Monkey branching happens even in marriage. This is why you got to have yourself figured out, and you can't just marry somebody. I mean, it's really a crapshoot. I mean, half of marriages fail. Women initiate 80% of the divorce. It's not in men's benefit to commit to a long-term relationship as far as marriage is concerned. It's really not anymore, and that has to get fixed before I could ever really advise men to get married. Honestly. She can leave you, she can monkey branch, she can find somebody better, and there's always going to be somebody better than you. Here's the thing. Do you really want to constantly be competing your whole life to keep your wife around, right? Imagine how insecure that would make you feel. Oh, I've always got to be improving. I've always got to be the best she can get. And there's advices out there that literally tell you this. Always stay on your purpose. Always, have this frame where you can always do better than her, and all this like mental tricks, these Jedi mind tricks that they teach guys, and it's because they're trying to hack female nature, right? I say, why would you want that? Why would you want a woman that you constantly have to hack her nature? You constantly have to make her feel like you're the best that she can do. Why would you want that in the first place? That's my thing, right? I would want somebody who I know damn well feels like I'm the one. She feels like I'm the one, and she loves me, and we've been through thick and thin together. That's how I know she loves me. That's how I know it's real love. She's been down for me when I spent 5 years being homeless. She was down for me when I spent 10 years being unemployed. That's real shit, right? If you always have to have, I've always got to have a house, I always got to have this nice career, like, you don't really have love. Essentially, you just bought a woman, right? You just bought a woman. That's the real truth, right? All right, now back from that tangent. So there's, I'd say 3 or 4 tiers, right? We went through 2. The first one is the sex tier, right? She's invested enough in you, emotionally invested enough in you, sexually, physically invested enough in you that she wants to have sex with you. Whether it's a one-night stand or it's a friends with benefits or just what kind of fuck buddy situation, she wants to have sex with you. The second tier is boyfriend. This is more intimate than just a friend with benefits, right? Boyfriend is you kiss a lot, you hold hands, you hug, you sleep together, right? But I'm telling you, believe me when I tell you, it's still not long-term in her mind. She hasn't fully invested in boyfriends. And women will do this. And as I said before, I believe men are different. I believe that men are I believe men are more emotionally invested in a boyfriend-girlfriend type scenario than women are. I mean, yeah, every relationship differs and it depends on the person and it all. But I believe in general, women are more comfortable having a boyfriend than they are friends with benefits. It's because women are more social. So they want to tell their friends, yes, I have this long-term boyfriend, because that is socially acceptable. But it's not socially acceptable for a woman to have a friends with benefits. Because if she has a friends with benefits, she can't bring that guy around her friends. When people ask her, what are they? And he says, oh, we're just hanging out, right? What does that mean? It means, oh, why are you seeing this guy? He's not committed to you. So what are her friends going to do? They're going to chastise her. They're going to shame her. And they're going to talk crap behind her back. Oh, you know what? Jenny is hanging out with Chris, but Chris isn't really invested in her. She likes him, but he's just using her, for the sex. Ha ha. Or maybe that's really not the case. Maybe they're both just enjoying the sex, right? But her friends are not going to look at that in a positive light. They're going to be like, hey, what are you doing? You should have a real boyfriend, right? It's just the way it is. This is just social conditioning. So they would usually, friends with benefits don't last that long anyways, because women usually want something more. Women want commitment naturally. It's just how they are. They want commitment, right? And yes, again, there's social pressure there. So she will be committed to you, quote unquote, in a boyfriend type scenario, because she'll feel comfortable being able to say, this is my boyfriend, show her off to her friends. She might not take you around her family yet, because she might not be thinking about marriage. A lot of people, unfortunately, in this day and age, we call it dating. Dating can be a lot of different things. Really, what dating means in 2021 is hooking up. That's really what dating means now. But you could also say we're dating as in we're boyfriend and girlfriend. That's also common too today, right? Mostly, in my opinion, now in 2021, mostly dating, what it means is hooking up. But women are emotional creatures. They like to be connected. They like to have commitment. They really do, okay? But again, you got to keep in mind, this is tier 2. If you're her boyfriend, she won't necessarily be long-term. She might love you, but her love might not be that kind of love. Women reserve love for different things, right? So the third tier is marriage. The third tier is long-term relationship / marriage. A long-term relationship and marriage are more or less the same thing. A really long-term relationship is like 3 or 4 years or more, right? And once you hit that stage, it's like you might as well be married. That's a very long time in dating years. That's a very, very long time, right? But here's the thing. Here's what you got to ask yourself. You got to ask yourself, where am I in this tier? Now, I will say this. It's a good sign and this, well, it can be a good sign. It's a good sign if you said, when you first met her, you guys hooked up. Okay, well, look, it's a good sign, but there's all kinds of red flags. First of all, if you hook up on the first date, that's a huge red flag, right? That's a red. If you have sex with her on the first date, that's a red flag. Literally, all the girls I hooked up with and had sex with in my 20s was all on the first date, and I attribute that to a very bad society in decline. I did go on a few dates with a few girls who were looking for long term, and maybe I've been on a few dozen dates in my life, which is really not much. But I've hooked up a lot, right? So from the few dozen dates and hookups I've had, I think there was like one that really sticks out of one or two that like really sticks out of my mind, where the girl I felt like she was actually pure. Guys can tell. We can tell, man. We can tell by the way you carry yourself, by the way you talk, by the way you dress. If you have a high body count, we can tell. And I think, like, again, maybe 1 or 2 that I've dated, that I went on first dates with, and they actually didn't go past the first date, mostly because I was looking for something different and I didn't have my stuff together. I was just looking to hook up, and they kind of thought it was something else. But again, 1 or 2 that I felt like these girls are actually pure. Like, this girl has a good home life, a good family. I can tell she was raised with morals. I can tell that she's not just trying to hook up with me, right? Most of the time, I would have sex with the girl on the first date, because that's 2010s, right? 2020s. That's what era we live in. These girls are having sex on the first date. That's a red flag. But I will say that as far as love is concerned, if she really loves you, it's somewhat of a good sign, per se, quote unquote, if she'll not only hook up with you, but she'll be your girlfriend, right? That's a good sign in a way, because it means that if she'll hook up with you and be your girlfriend, it means not only is she really physically attracted to you, she's also emotionally attracted to you, and she likes your personality. So those are good signs, but it's a red flag, and it's not a good sign if she has sex with you on the first date for you, because it means, hey, this girl is a woman of the world, right? They call them worldlies in England. They call them worldlies for some reason, but they're basically girls that they're out sleeping around, hooking up with guys whenever they want. Basically club hoes, club sluts, right? So that's a red flag, because later on you're gonna have problems. Later on she's gonna have emotional problems. She might have mental problems. She's gonna cheat on you. She's gonna monkey branch. She's gonna shit test you. You don't want that when you're in a 5-year relationship with somebody. You don't want 5 years down the road, oh, I met this other guy, oops, sorry, I want a divorce, right? You don't want that 10 years down the road, oops, sorry, I met this other guy, I want a divorce, right? So this is why you want to stay away from these worldlies, these women who've been around the block, because they're gonna get bored with you, right? Let's see, where am I at? Okay, so here's the thing. You gotta as a man, you gotta determine where she is, who she is, where she's at in her journey of dating or finding love or hooking up or what. You got to determine where she's at, and men can do this if you're not blue pilled. If you get that simp mentality out of your head and you're not blue pilled, you can do this. You can determine that, because like I said, it's a red flag if she's down to hook up. Oh, she's sucking your dick like a professional porn star. She's probably sucked a lot of dicks in her life, right? She's deep throating you, sucking your balls, right? Like, that's an indication that this isn't her first rodeo. She's done it a lot, right? You can tell if a woman is pure. You want to pick a pure woman. Yes, we like sex, we like raunchy sex, whatever, maybe, but do you really want to marry that girl, right? Do you want that to be the mother of your kids, right? Think about it. So you have to determine where she's at. And what tier does she want you at? Does she just want you for sex? Does she want you for just the boyfriend? A lot of girls, they just want a boyfriend. They're like, I just want somebody to show off to my friends, somebody I can hang out around and have fun with. Okay, if that's what you want in your life as a guy and you understand that that's all it's about, maybe. But if you're looking for a quality woman for long term and she just wants the boyfriend phase, she just wants to be your girlfriend, she just wants a boyfriend to have around, are you sure you really want that? Because you might fall in love with her. She might say she loves you, but a woman's love for her quote-unquote boyfriend, right, is not the same type of love that she has for her husband. And a lot of times when girls just have, I call them serial daters, right? Serial monogamous. It's a weird term, right? Like, really, they're really not that monogamous. They just jump from guy to guy, but they're usually always in a relationship, and it's like a 1-year relationship, 2-year relationship, and it doesn't really go beyond that, because this is kind of how women are. Women always have boyfriends. Make no mistake. Women always have boyfriends, right? This is another thing you have to understand, is that you think, oh, I got lucky, I got this girl, she's with you right now, but you got to remember, it's just your turn, right? She was never yours, it's just your turn. You got to remember that, because she might be with you right now and you're thinking, hey, I'm so lucky, I got this hot girl and we're having this great sex and we're all intimate and she wants to be my girlfriend. That's amazing, because I'm not used to this, right? Because we're not, as guys, we don't usually always have a girlfriend, but women do. We go through periods where we're just single. A lot of guys, man, so many guys, 5 years single, 10 years single, 3 years single, right? It's very difficult, really, for a guy to have a steady girlfriend unless he's Chad, right? Because Chad is highly sought after. Because, again, you got to understand that women's choosing process is different than men's. Women's choosing process is different than men's. They choose the highest value guy they can, and 9 times out of 10, literally 9 times out of 10, because only the top 10% of guys are the ones who women find constantly attractive. You might have a good year where you're really in shape and you just you go from a 5 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10. All of a sudden you get a girlfriend. It's like it's new for you, because we're not always 10 out of 10. We're just we don't pop out of the room. Pop out of the womb a Giorgio Armani model. We don't pop out of the womb Calvin Klein model. We're just not. We got to work hard at it to maybe push our SMV up to a 7 if we're lucky, right? Most men are just not objectively attractive, and women back this up with statistics. It's backed up with statistics. Most women on dating sites only find like 10 to 15% of the guys actually attractive, and their standards are insanely high. A guy might actually be very attractive. He might actually be very hot, but she just doesn't like him because, I'm into guys with long hair right now, or I'm only into guys who have a surfing body right now, or I'm only into guys who wear bikers jackets right now, right? Whatever her phase is, you got to understand. So you got to understand where she's at in her life. And again, as I said in the very, very beginning of this video, you have to take the red pill, because taking the red pill is a safeguard. It helps you figure out what type of woman it helps you figure out what these women out here are doing. You got to know that, because here's the thing. If she picks you and all of a sudden you're like, wow, it happened. I got a woman and she wants to have a long-term relationship with me, right? Hold up, pump the brakes, understand something. If you're not attracting women 24/7, you're probably not that attractive. So if all of a sudden a woman wants you, there's something suspect about that. You got to consider, wait a minute. Why does this woman want me all of a sudden when no other women wanted me? Why does this woman want me? What's wrong with her? That's a pragmatic, practical, logical conclusion. If none of these women want me and all of a sudden they want me, what's going on here? Maybe all of a sudden I got money, or I got status. All of a sudden I didn't even realize it. Or I got this new job, and all of a sudden these women are into me because I'm dressing more professional, or because I have a nicer car, or because I'm a senior executive now at my company, and the women in my company want me now. That's hypergamy. They didn't want you before, but now all of a sudden they want you. I think it's a famous Mike Jones quote. For my guys out there who like rap. This quote from Mike Jones the rapper. He says, last year, hoes didn't want me. This year, I'm hot. Now they all on me. Let me repeat that. Last year, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot. Hoes are all on me. That's female nature. That's female nature. Last year, no woman wanted you. Now all of a sudden, you got to come up. You hit the gym for a few years and you're looking buff, you're dressing better. All of a sudden you look maxed, and now you went from a 4 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10. Now girls want you all of a sudden. Something's up. So you got to say, well, is this woman really going to be down with me, for the rest of my life? Because I'm not going to be a 7 out of 10. I'm not going to be an apex male, or excuse me, I'm not going to be at my apex as a male for the rest of my life. I'm only going to be at my apex as a male for 30 years if I'm lucky, right? From age 20, I don't even say 20, because we're not even at our apex until 35, right? So 35 to 65, maybe I'll be at my apex, but a lot can happen in that time. I could lose my job. I could get out of shape. I could get depression. I could get an illness, right? Then is she going to stick with you? You gotta consider that. Is she down with you when you got nothing? So you got to think to yourself, why is she choosing me now? Why? And also, you got to say, well, wait a minute. These other women that I want don't want me, but for some reason this woman wants me. What's wrong with her, right? How is she different than all these other women? There might be something wrong with her. She might have some kind of mental illness. She might be a straight up hoe. And no guys are committing to her, so all of a sudden she sees you and she's like, oh, this guy really wants to love me. I can tell he really wants love. He's not like these other guys. These other guys just want to bang me and throw me to the side. And I bang them, but they don't want to commit. But this guy wants to commit. Therefore, you see, so you think you're winning, you know, right? Oh, I got this woman and she's hot. Oh, wow, it's great. And all of a sudden I love her and all this. It's like, but you don't understand that she's using you. She's using your love. Oh, the other guys wouldn't commit, but this guy's committing, so therefore I'm going to go with him, right? Hold on a second. That's a damaged woman. That's damaged goods. That's used goods. She's only committing to you because you want to commit. Whereas the other guys, she would bang them and sleep around with them, but they wouldn't commit to her. You see the point? It's like, do you really want that? Do you want a girl who is settling for you because you're the only guy who will commit to her? If that makes sense, right? Do you want a girl who is settling for you because you're the only guy who she can find that has a good job who will commit to her, right? You're the only guy who will overlook her past. You're the only guy who will accept her baggage, whether it's a kid, mental problems, PTSD, bipolar disorder,